David, I want to thank you for taking the time to come here this morning. I mean, you have some time off because we had to postpone it once, didn't we?
Yeah, we had
one time before then, yeah. Okay, start off with, first of all, where were you born?
Okay, so I was born in Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah, in the capital, Stockholm.
All right.
And I spent my first 5 years there. And then I moved down south because my parents got jobs down south.
Okay.
And then I kind of grew up in two different cities in the south of Sweden. And at that time, when we moved down, my parents separated. So they lived in two different cities.
But they separated, you mean because of marital problems?
They were not married.
Okay.
Yeah, from the beginning.
Right.
They met during the era in Sweden in the 70s.
Wait, kind of, so they never got married?
They never got married.
They're still not married?
Still not married.
Okay, that's why you have the two last names.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. So you didn't tell me that the last time we talked.
No.
All right, but they haven't married anyone else either?
No, they haven't.
And they don't have kids by anyone else?
No kids with anyone else.
You're the only child they developed at all?
At all, yes.
How much of your life did you spend with both of them together?
My first 5 years.
Okay, and after that?
After that, I've been like most of the time with my mom in the younger years.
Okay.
And then when I became 15, that's when I spent time more with my dad.
Right.
Yeah.
And he comes here every year to ride motorcycles with you all over the country. You say you have a good relationship with both of them?
Yes, I do.
But they're close. Are they close? They're not so close?
No, they're not close.
They're not close?
No.
I missed that on that last time. Because I was probably talking so much.
I was listening to you a lot.
Right. You listened to me the whole time.
Yes.
And I missed that. I got the fact that your mother's from where?
Kenya.
Kenya.
Yes.
And your father's Swedish.
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 Yes.
And I met both of you, which was really, you blew my mind. The first time I met you was at a motorcycle shop. I go to Reikoland.
Yeah, Reikoland, yes.
And you and your father were preparing for a trip.
Yeah. I think it was our maybe second trip. Second trip. So we usually do it annually. He comes from Sweden to Japan. Right. He stays for maybe 3 weeks. Right. And during that time we go out for riding.
Right.
And when we met, we were buying like microphones, headsets, so we could communicate while riding.
Right.
Because when you spend a whole day on the road,
that's right.
Yeah, and you can't talk to each other.
That's hard.
Yeah, it is.
You might as well be riding alone.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But you're still watching. It's not as good as riding alone, because when you're riding alone, well, as you know, you don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to worry about anyone else. But when you're riding with someone else, you're always checking them, especially if you're the one in front.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. And I'm usually the one in front.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, really? Your father keeps you in front?
Yeah, he does.
Yes, he's trying to protect you. That's what it is. You're not worried about him, but you always have to think, was my dad all right?
Yeah.
Is he all right?
Yeah.
So you've done that how many times now?
We've done it 6 times. 6 rides around Japan. So the first one was Izu. The second one was up towards Venus Line, Kagurazaka area. And the third one was all the way up to Sendai, going along the coast, Matsushima, and back through Yamagata down to Tokyo. And then the one after that was, I think, Hokkaido. Is that we went around Hokkaido, 1 lap. It took a whole week. It was very nice,
wasn't it?
And very, very long stretches, unfortunately, but
unfortunately, that's the part I love. You didn't go
th
through it. You went all. You did the whole outside of.
Along
you never
the coast.
came through because coming through, they really have some straight roads. Yes.
Yeah, but along the coast, the north side, all the way up to Wakanai, the northest part of Japan, it's a very, very long stretch. It is. Yeah, we did almost that in a whole day.
Yeah. Well, how
Yeah.
long? Usually, how long when you ride? How long do you ride before you take a break?
So we do stretches of 1 hour.
That's how I do mine.
Yeah, yeah.
The first time I didn't.
You didn't?
And oh man, I paid for that big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I wanted to see how quick I could get to places.
Mm.
So I'd be riding like for 12 hours sometimes. My longest ride was 12 hours.
Wow.
And I just rode. And I was with not a custom seat, the manufactured seat on that big bike you saw.
Okay. Yeah.
It took me, what, a good month before I could stop feeling my butt.
Ow.
You know, because it was, you're just sitting on the bike and the vibration too.
Yeah.
I said, I'll never do that again. So I stop every hour.
Yeah.
Shake out and stay. And I usually wait for about 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes before I get back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the longest I'll ride. You learn.
Yeah. The hard way.
Have you ever done that? Ridden
No.
for a long, long time? And
maybe 3 hours at tops, but it hurts so much.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
And you guys are on factory bikes anyway. You don't have customized bikes.
Don't have customized.
How many cc's in the bike that you ride?
So I ride with a almost 700 cc.
Oh, so you have Ogata. You have the big license.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
your father,
yeah.
same thing?
Yeah, back in Sweden he rides a 1600, so he's got a big one.
Okay.
Yeah. Not as big as your motorcycle.
I mean, come on.
The Rocket. Yeah. It's massive. Yeah.
You've never ridden one, have you?
No, not that one. No. I haven't.
It rides you. When you touch it, it pulls you.
Yeah. Oh.
It's so I'll let you ride it sometime.
Yeah.
You'll see.
I will
It's
be
a whole
happy to.
different feeling. It's a whole different feeling.
Yeah.
So tell me, so as a little kid growing up, you spent the first 5 years you sit with mom and dad together?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember any of that?
Not much.
Okay.
No. I don't remember much of that time in Stockholm, the first years. What I remember vividly is kind of when I learned how to ski.
How old were you then?
Around 5 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mom and dad were there, or was it just?
I think they were there.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then during that time also I learned how to ride the bicycle.
Okay.
So then I remember my mom and dad and my grandfather.
They were all pushing you, helping you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were. Yes.
All right.
It was a nice memory.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But your first language was Swedish?
Swedish.
And how
Yes.
long did you speak Swedish before you started learning English?
So I think my mother put me in school, English school, when in first grade or second grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So I learned a little bit.
Right.
But my teacher, she was kind of keeping me away from being able to play after school. So I didn't really like going to English studies. Not because of the English language itself, but the teacher. Yeah, so I would go to normal school, and then after school she would pick me up, and then we would have English class. Yeah. So a little bit mischievous as I was back then, I don't think I am anymore, but I would get up and create plans for how to avoid her.
Such as?
So I would learn the route she would take to school to pick me up, and then I would learn at what time she would walk down that road. So I would find places to hide along her road to school, and then I would watch her walk past me, and then I would kind of disappear from English class.
What do you mean kind of disappear? Wait.
I mean,
you watch her wait.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be where she was coming to pick you up.
Yes, I would be supposed to be at school.
So then she'd be worried about you the whole time she's supposed to be teaching you, looking for you.
Yeah,
you disappear.
maybe. I would run away as soon as she passed me from my hiding spot. So
How old were you at this time?
Maybe 7 years old or something like that.
But your mother and father weren't living together then?
No, they were not.
So your mother would be the one you have to deal with?
Yeah.
So how would she deal with you after she found out you avoided your English class?
Yeah, she was not happy. She was really not happy, but I think she was treating me more like an adult, so we had discussions about it. Yeah. And then she figured out that maybe I shouldn't put David in English class.
Okay.
Yeah. So instead she managed to buy like satellite TV, and then she would put on the Cartoon Network. So I would watch that one instead to learn English.
Was it working? Did it work?
It worked, yeah.
Really?
Because I would wake up before class and then sit and watch cartoons for an hour before going to school.
You wanted to do that.
I wanted to do that. It was fun.
Yeah, of course.
The
yeah.
Swedish cartoons were not that fun. Yeah.
So so she had it. Oh, I got it now.
Yeah.
So when you watch these cartoons, they were all in English, of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she figured out a way to.
She put it in work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then, what was your school life like? What was it like going to school? Were there many kids mixed like you at school?
No, there were not. No.
Okay. Your mother had your back though, right?
Yeah, she had. Yes.
They got to find out who she was real quick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She goes, okay, class, this is my son David. Any questions?
Yeah. Yeah. She's a very strong lady.
I bet she is.
Yes, she is.
I bet she is.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you enjoy school when you were going through elementary school?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you have any friends from that time?
Not from my first 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
but from after that, I still have friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from year 4 and upwards.
What were some of the things that you enjoyed? What kind of studies did you enjoy in elementary? Do you remember?
In elementary, I think I learned I liked science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that started back then.
It started from birth for you.
Yeah.
See, I know a little bit of your story.
Yeah.
That started from your dad and your mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just clear this up real quick.
Yeah.
What did your mother do? What's her degree in?
My mom's degree is in chemistry.
In chemistry.
Chemistry, yes.
And what does she do right now?
So now she's retired.
Okay, but what did she do prior to retirement?
Prior to retirement, she was working with like chemistry and also working with cables.
Right.
So
And
at a
she's-
company in
come on,
Sweden.
tell everything.
Yeah.
What cable did she lay?
Yeah, she was part of a project of laying a cable between Sweden and Poland. So an underwater cable connecting the two countries together. Yes.
Which was really big at that time. No one had done that.
No, it hadn't. It was really nice. And I got to see the cable as well. It was quite large cable.
Yes.
And you could see the insides as well and the layers, how it's made.
Set up,
Yeah.
And she dealt with all of that.
Yeah, she was.
Now let's talk about Dad.
Yeah.
What does he do?
So he's also a chemist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's got a PhD in pulp and cellulosa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's still working in that industry, working with paper, creating paper at different companies in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the beginning he started working on the paper itself and how to create the paper, and now he's a project manager for different like enhancements to the factories that produce the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're a child of two very brainy people. I like to use the word brainy.
Brainy people. Yeah.
So of course they're gonna have a brainy child.
Yeah.
So after, so you came. So elementary school. What kind of sports did you like?
So I like moving my body. So it eventually came into track and field, and jumping and running and also climbing. So I tried out the ball sports,
Right.
like soccer and a little bit of land hockey and such. But my ball control is not so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hand-eye coordination with the balls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know at a young age that I needed glasses. It was not until I was 10 years old
Okay.
that I realized, okay, I can't see those kids over there. I can't see their faces. So if I see a ball coming,
It would hit you right in the face.
it would take a while, and then I would notice, oh, there's something coming. So, yeah.
So are you wearing contacts now?
I have LASIK.
You had Lasik.
I had
Just
LASIK.
one time?
One time.
So did I.
Ah, okay.
I had Lasik as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
How long ago did you have your Lasik?
3 years ago. I
Here in
think.
Japan?
Here in Japan.
What clinic did you go to?
So Shinagawa. Shinagawa Clinic. I
Okay.
think it's in Yurakucho.
Okay, you doctor.
Yeah.
Because I had a friend of mine. She went to school with my wife. They both graduated from the same university, KL. And she became an obstetrician. And my wife's a general practitioner.
Yeah.
So I had we used to go to clubs and everything together, all of us. So I knew her from then, and she's the one that did the Lasiks. But they don't do anything. She was behind the machine. She did the exam before, and the machine did everything, and the technicians.
Yeah.
But isn't that a weird feeling?
It is.
And you don't see anything. You think, look at the red light. Look at the red light.
Yeah.
You don't look away and be blind for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And that pain. it was kind of unique. I've never felt anything behind my ear, my eye.
You had pain behind your eye?
It was kind of pressing. So the machine was pressing my eye,
Okay.
and it's starting like
Pain
feeling
back there.
Back there.
I didn't feel that.
Oh, you didn't?
I felt nothing. The only thing, I felt nothing.
Wow.
They worked
You're
on
strong.
mine. I felt
Yeah.
no pain at all because they put it on one eye,
Yeah.
and then they say, okay, you're not going to see anything after a while. So, and it goes, chick, chick,
Yeah.
and then you're blind.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay. And they say, when you see the red light, keep on looking at the red light. I keep on looking, but your eye moves around a little bit. You say, look at the red light. I'm going, please. And then I could smell the burn of flesh. Do you smell that?
I smell
When they use the Lasik.
Yeah.
And that's when they're changing the lens or something.
Yeah.
That's the only time I smell that. But I thought it was fun. I just went through it. Because mine took 7.5 minutes, so 15 minutes to do both eyes.
Okay, it
For
took
both.
longer. Okay.
Yours was shorter?
30 seconds per eye.
What?
Yeah. It was super quick.
Mine was 15 minutes.
Maybe
What did you have? I have astigmatism. Meaning it's just degeneration because of age.
Okay.
So yours is what? Short-sightedness?
I was short-sighted and I have astigmatism. But they didn't correct the astigmatism.
Okay, they corrected my astigmatism. That's what they did.
Okay,
But
that's why.
they say it only lasts for what? It could be. It depends on the person and what kind of shape you're in. So I had mine about 10 years or more ago.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about doing it once again.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say I think you can do it twice right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
What about you?
So
You said a couple of seconds.
a couple
Both
of
eyes?
seconds, both eyes. Maybe that's why
You had
it
pain,
hurt so
did you?
much. Yeah, because they just slapped the machine on my eye and they pressed the eye down. They just
So you
cut it
couldn't
up.
move it.
I couldn't move. So they didn't have to tell me, look at the red
No,
light.
mine said look at
It
the
was
red
just it was just fixed at the red light.
And they just
And they cut open the lens, they open it up,
right,
and then they burned inside,
and then they glued back.
do it back, and they removed the machine. 30 seconds.
No, mine was.
It was so fast.
No,
Yeah.
mine was. I was up there. I had to think about it.
Yeah.
No.
And afterwards, did you have to be in a dark room for some time? No.
I got in. I wouldn't suggest this for anyone else. I'm just saying this now, but I had my assistant with me, so she was with me, and when I drove back, and it felt like. Have you ever been in a swimming pool that has too much chlorine and you feel like you have rocks in your eyes?
Yeah.
It's kind of that's the feeling I had, but I could see enough to get back.
That's.
And I drove myself back. I drove myself back.
Wow. Okay.
And never, and she trusted me because she knew that I'm not going to go like this. That's what they don't want you to do. That's why you have to wear those glasses.
Yeah.
Some people itch their eye and think about it. I had no intention of doing that.
Yeah.
And didn't have to wear in the shower because she said, just try not to get too much water in your eye. So you just do everything from the back, you know, and do it that way. But no, and no problem.
Okay.
And she said, you want to come in for the checkup afterwards? Just come and look. And I did. She said, you okay? And I said, I'm okay. She said, all right.
Yeah.
Because she knows me. She knows my personality. She knows what I'm like. So it's like, yeah, she's been knowing me for a long time. So she knows that my word's my bond.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make it look bad. I said, I'm going to make this work. And it did. It was a beautiful operation. But mine was 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yours was
It was super quick.
30 seconds.
30 seconds on each eye. Yeah.
So maybe if you don't want to have pain, you go longer.
Yeah. After the fact, I might have considered the longer one. Because I still have that astigmatism in front of computers, I wear glasses to make my eyes not become so tired. But on the weekends, when I'm out riding, that's when I get the benefit of my Lasik. Because I can see everything. And when it's bright outside, kind of my astigmatism doesn't bother me.
Okay.
So I can see very far. And it's so nice to put on the helmet without bothering with the glasses and just sit on the road and ride.
Before mine, I had two sets of glasses. One for seeing up close and one for seeing at a distance. So when I drove, I had to wear because I couldn't see the signs.
Yeah.
So I'd have to get right under them. It was too late, if you're on the expressway.
Yeah. Oops.
Turn left. Anyway.
Yeah.
But with the, like you said, with the Lasiks, I can see at a distance really good. She couldn't make them both the same. So one was 2015, so one's really good distance.
Yeah.
And the other one's just, 2020.
Oh, okay.
So one I can see, I can see the spots on the moon. Let's get into your high school stage. What was it like for you in high school?
Yeah, high school, it was good.
Because you started living with your father.
Yes, at that time.
Right.
Yeah. So
How
the
did it change?
high school was right in the middle of the city. And at that time when I started high school, we moved to a new city.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in southern part of Sweden in the younger years.
Mhm.
And then at high school we moved up to kind of, I would say, middle of Sweden.
Right. Your mother moved
Yeah.
with you?
No, she stayed,
She stayed
in
okay.
southern part of Sweden. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be 100% with my dad at that time. And the school was pretty nice.
Did you feel any differences, like between, what was the biggest difference when you left from your mom to your dad? Because that happened to me in a way.
Yeah, I think I kind of became more, I was more free with my dad. Yes. I mean, in a good way. I wouldn't say it was bad being with my mom,
Right.
because she was teaching me the ways,
Right.
how to deal with what's going to come in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad took over once it started,
Mm-hmm.
when my life kind of started.
How old were you when that happened?
15 years old.
15, okay.
Yeah, 15.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were happy to go, huh?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Yes.
That's about the same with me. I think I was about 15 or so when
Mhm.
I stopped being with my mother so much, because she
Mhm.
actually moved, and my
Mhm.
sisters, and then I lived with my father.
Oh.
And I think it was a good time, because that's when you're really making decisions
Yeah.
and choices.
Yeah.
For me anyway. Tell me what it was like for you.
Yeah, for me as well, both bad and good decisions.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it was nice to grow up in a new city and make a new break, like start off new. And when I moved there and started making out friends, I went down the path of not so good path in the
Mhm.
beginning, but I quickly realized that maybe this clique of people was not suited for me. And then I went back into being more of a going back into studies again.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, because that's what I actually liked.
You
Studying.
thought you were going to like the rough side, but you thought you were going to like that, but it didn't turn out being so well.
It didn't. Yeah, yeah,
Did your father say anything about that? Did he know that you were going that way?
yeah. He knew, because all the time he would make sure that I got home safely
Mm-hmm.
at every night. So he would come and pick me up wherever I was. So if I was in a how do you say, bad neighborhood,
Okay.
or with people who were a little bit rough, he would notice, and he
Mhm.
would be able to talk to them as well
Mhm.
and show his face.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a very calm person, so he would never be aggressive towards anyone. But I think with his calmness, it scared away the rough people.
They know that. They knew that was
Yeah.
just, he could do that, but if he had to change.
Yeah, yes. So after a couple of months, I think I felt the need to go back into studies.
Mhm.
So I would spend a lot of time at home studying mathematics and studying
How old were you when
physics
this
and so
happened?
on.
How old were you, do you think?
It was towards 16 years
Mhm.
old. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think.
And then you loved, so you liked doing that. What were your favorite subjects? You said math?
Math,
Okay.
yes, and chemistry and physics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's
then
it.
from there, from
Mm.
high school, you went to college. So you went to college in Sweden.
Yes.
Which
I did.
one?
Uppsala University.
Is that a really good college?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's a,
What's it equivalent to in the U.S.? Because I only know the U.S.
so
Stanford, Harvard.
if I think it's one of the top 4 or 5 in Sweden. So maybe
Okay.
something like that.
Harvard, Princeton, one of those.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's good.
It's a big school, and it's
Mhm.
very nice. Yeah.
Did you feel, so how did you feel when you got into the college? Did you went there on a scholarship, I think you told me.
Not
You
here
didn't?
in Sweden,
Okay.
but when I went to Japan, I got a scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I got in there, it felt really nice, because there was a lot of like people who had interest in mathematics and
Mhm.
people interested in physics.
And that's all they cared about.
Yeah, that's what I cared about back then.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also a little bit of drinking. I liked at that time as well. Yeah, but so it was a good mix. It was a good balance that you studied for 6 weeks, and
Mhm.
then you had your exam period for a week, and then
Mhm.
you had 1 week of partying, and then back into the cycle again.
Right.
Yeah. So actually, my mother, she told me about that cycle, the same experience she had when she went to university
mhm,
back
mhm.
in the day. That yeah, make sure you study, make sure you take the exams, and you pass the exams, and then you can party as much as you want.
And that's what you did?
Yeah, and that's what I did. Yeah, and I did that for about a 5-year period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you got your degree.
Yeah.
In what?
I got my degree in engineering physics with an emphasis on space electronics.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah.
But during that time, during that 6-year time, you came to Japan?
I did, for an exchange year.
Exchange year.
Yeah.
What university did you go to?
At Tohoku University,
Okay.
up in Sendai.
Right.
Yeah. So I was in a lab, Yoshida-san's lab.
Mm-hmm.
It was space robotics.
Mm-hmm.
So it was right up my alley. And that's when I learned how to program robots.
Mm.
And it was a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah, because they had space rovers, and they had mini rovers, and that's what I was actually working on, a 2-wheeled rover with a little tail.
Mm-hmm.
And what you did with that one, you put it inside a rocket. Yeah, and we actually went to the Nevada desert in America for a competition with this robot. So we had a collaboration with people like hobbyists making rockets on their spare time. So we connected with one of those, put our robot inside, and that got fired up into the sky 3 or 4 kilometers up.
Right.
And then it ejected the robot, and the robot came down with a parachute. And then right out in the Black Rock Desert in Nevada, it found its way home, riding for about 1 kilometer.
That's the one that you did, you guys prepared?
Yeah, me and 2 other guys were doing that.
And it came all the way back?
It came all the way back to the goal. So it was a pre-programmed goal, a GPS location, and the small robot, not weighing more than 1 kilo, was taking it way back. And I was part of the electronics and the programming for that robot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what place you come in?
We did not finish first.
Okay.
Well, we got very close to the to the goal. We were unfortunately disqualified because the parachute got entangled up.
Okay.
Yeah. But if the wind would have taken the parachute off and the ejection mechanism would work perfectly, then we would have been number 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it was a great
Good experience.
Yeah.
To see it happen.
Yeah.
In real life. That's the thing.
And it's the same desert as the Burning Man, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, they have the Burning Man every year.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
I haven't been to Burning Man, but after we went, everyone thought we had been to Burning Man. So, yeah.
So, did you study Japanese prior to coming?
Yeah, I studied for about 1 year before coming to Japan. Yeah, in Sweden, at Stockholm University. So I was going to 2 universities in 2 different cities at that time. It was quite tiresome. Yeah, to commute 1 hour to another city and then go back and then study. So I was studying a little bit too much at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
But
I think it was worth it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So after you finished university, what was your first job?
My first job, it was actually before finishing university.
Okay.
It was a satellite company, or a company that provides computers for satellites. So they came up with this new idea that you can use off-the-shelf computer parts, and you strip away the plastic and you put it on a ceramic wafer, and then you use that as the base for the computer. So you can take a big computer and shrink it down to very, very small size, put it in a satellite and shoot it up into the sky. So I was working on making the program to test this computer. So because of the radiation in space, it's very unlucky if you have only one computer. So they made a kind of an array. They created 4 identical computers, and I would create a software program to make them interact with each other and make sure that they were working fine. So that was my first job.
Okay. And that's in Sweden?
In Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah. Then after that, it was around the time when the Lehman shock happened, financial crisis. So about that time I finished and took my degree, Master of Science. And then I started working for Erichsson, the phone maker or the telephone operator company. I worked there for about half a year because I got the opportunity to come to Japan again.
Through Erichsson?
No, it was a different track on the side. Yeah. So my initial reason for coming to Japan was that I had previously, before finishing up my studies, applied for a PhD position at Tohoku University. Yes. And I got accepted to that. I got a scholarship for that as well. And that was the reason for going to Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But once I arrived, me and the professor, Yoshida-san, we didn't really get along, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but you told me the story behind that.
Yeah.
Because you had planned so much on a project that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it wasn't his plan.
It was not his plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And therefore you decided,
yeah. What can I do? So
what can we do? So you didn't go, you ended up just not taking the scholarship. You went on and did something else.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
No feelings hurt. No
feelings.
No bad feelings.
Not from my side. No.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably happy because.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So then from there, what happened? Where'd you end up after that?
So I had how do you say, a friend that got me in contact with a Japanese-based company or a small startup company, which had ties to Sweden and the university I had been at. So I got into that track and got in contact with them, went to Kansai and started working at that startup company. It was part of the Uppsala University kind of startup scene. And yeah, so I joined that company and they were working on weigh scales. So it's kind of a product you put in the highway. So it was a joint research and development project with NEXCO, the Japanese highway.
Right.
And the weigh scale, when you run a vehicle over it, you kind of estimate the mass of the vehicle. And the reason why they want to have that is because most of the highways in Japan is elevated. So the maintenance cost is super high for those. So when overloaded vehicles like trucks go on the road, they destroy the road much faster than other vehicles. So they wanted to have some kind of tool to measure if the truck was overloaded or not. They would give some indication to the truck driver so that they would exit at the next exit as soon as possible. Yeah. So I was there for 3.5 years working on that. Taking it from an idea together with the owners of the company, working on again software and also being the product manager for that. And I invited the people I used to do exchange year up in Sendai. I invited 5 people from all over the world to come back to Japan and start working together with me.
And they did it?
And they did, yes. They did. It was really nice.
That was neat.
Yeah, it was.
And you were the project manager at the time too.
Yeah.
How old were you when that happened?
26 maybe.
And all of you about the same age then?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
You guys must have had a good time. So you did what your mother taught you. You guys worked hard and you partied hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
That's neat. So you're still in close contact with them?
Yes, I am.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I think I saw some of the pictures of you and them in your Facebook.
Yes.
That had to be them.
Yeah.
Okay, so where did that lead you? Did that lead you to where you are now?
So there was one thing in between, but while I was in Kansai, I met up with a friend of a friend who came over from Sweden, and so a university friend. I showed him around in Kansai area, and he told me, David, I have a friend in Tokyo and he's looking for engineers like you, David. So maybe I'll put you in contact. So I started talking to a guy named Eric for some time. Nothing happened immediately. So I found another job in Tokyo working with smartphones, and I worked there for about a year. And during that time, I still had contact with Eric. And then all of a sudden he asked me, why don't you come out and have dinner with me? Then we had dinner, and it was kind of like an interview, because he was asking me about Taylor expansions and how to do some mathematics, how to do the derivatives of something. And he was just checking me out if I would be up to the task or to start working together with him. Yeah. And then at the end of 2013, he gave me an offer to start working in the financial industry.
Okay.
Yeah. And I started working together with Eric and Daniel, who are the founders of the company, and I started working kind of in the heart of the financial industry with major institutions here.
Okay.
Yeah. And
what year was that? What year was this?
2013.
2013. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And it's been fun ever since.
Oh, you're still working with them?
Yes, I'm still working with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You told me about that. That's when you told me about, because there's a separation between the banks and the government.
Yes. Yeah.
And that gap provided a void that you and your company are able to fill.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can communicate better.
Yeah.
Basically. And you handle the software into that?
Yes, the software part. So basically we provide the IT skills as well as the business skills. And that's the niche that we have is bringing together the business side and the IT side for all the financial institutions.
Now you're overall the project right now in Japan, aren't you?
Yes.
Because they moved back to Sweden, or where?
They moved to
Islands.
not
They
Sweden
went,
anymore.
they went to another island. They
Yeah.
went to an island somewhere. They're on their yacht right now with their martinis, just going, okay. I wonder how David's doing.
Yeah.
Did you see that podcast? He did. That's good. So you've been with them for how long now?
For more than 8 years now.
More than 8 years.
Yeah.
You're enjoying it?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Now I have to ask you this. Now your hair is really long. When did you start growing it?
Ooh, last millennia. So
Really?
1999 is the last time I cut my hair.
But you told me you're not a Muslim.
I'm not a Muslim. No.
Okay, does it have any religious reasons why you're growing it?
It does not have religious reasons.
Spiritual?
Not spiritual either.
Okay.
It's kind of like how do you say, revolt? So
against what?
Against my aunt.
You can tell me all this?
Yeah,
No problem?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You're on whose side? Your mother's side or your father's side?
My mother's side.
So your mother's sister, you're mad at?
Exactly, my mother's sister.
Now you're revolting against your mother's sister, your aunt who? Can you say her name?
Aunt Jessie.
Aunt Jessie. Why? What did Aunt Jessie
Yeah.
do to you? I'm just curious.
So, yeah.
That's unique, especially to be in a country like this that's very conservative. Because of course people immediately think that you happen to be a Rastafari or you're involved in music or something. That's all they would think. They'd never think that you're a math wizard and a scientist. And that's the last thing they'd think. So what's with Aunt? What's her last name?
Aunt Jessie.
Aunt Jessie
Mutura is her last name.
Aunt Jessie Mutura.
Yes.
What did she do to get you to do this?
So basically, as we talked about, I grew up in Sweden. So my mother's relatives are in Kenya. So I would go down to Kenya maybe once every 10 years. And I went down in 99. So I went there for Jessie Mutura's daughter's wedding. Yeah. And at that time, I had to stay with her because she was living in a very big house and she could accommodate me and my mother. But she had certain rules. And I would come directly from Sweden with kind of like a small afro.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was cool back then. But on the way from Sweden to Kenya, I had to be on the plane. I couldn't take care of my hair, so it got a little bit rough. And once I entered her domains, she looked at me, the young David. I was about 14 years old, and she said, "David, you can't look like that. Let me take you to the barber." So we went to the barber, and she just said, "Take care of his hair," to the hairstylist. And they cut my hair, but they were not accustomed to afros, so they cut it like a little bit slanted.
It was just wrong. It wasn't even.
It wasn't even. and he made it too short in the back, so I couldn't get that perfect round microphone afro.
Right.
Yeah, and I got so angry inside. So I was just thinking to myself, I can't stand this. I can't stand this. So I don't want to cut my hair anymore. I don't want to have someone else tell me what to do with my hair. So
That's what did it.
that's what did it. So 99 was the last time I cut my hair.
So you had a fro for a while, or did you just start braiding it?
I started braiding it maybe in 97 or something.
So you know how
and
to
then
braid? Who braided? Your mother braided it? Or what?
no, not braided it. So
So
that,
you-
I just kept my afro, and I had some hair salons in Sweden do braiding as well. But then this type right now is all natural. So it started coming out from an afro that I had while I was actually in Japan, 2006, 2007. So during Japan, it started kind of becoming dreadlocks. And then basically, so right now I have a hairband
Right,
here
right.
to make it look kind of
Neat,
okay. Yeah.
Right.
And then these ones, they're kind of odd size. They're not equal.
Okay, they can be equal, yeah.
Yeah. So some are thin and some are.
So do you soak them in water or what for cleaning them?
I use a lot of shampoo. A huge amount of shampoo, and I just stand in the
But
shower.
how do you do each one of these?
These ones?
Yeah.
I take my time to rub it
just
like
rub
this.
it like that. Okay, and then to
Yeah.
get inside. And
To get inside.
And you have to do
So-
that how often?
I do that every 2 weeks or
Every
something.
2 weeks
like
go
that.
like that. Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes I go into the tub
Right.
and soak
Just
my
that's
whole
the whole
body.
thing.
Yeah, I do.
And then how do you get it back to where it's supposed to be, like that?
So this is all natural. This doesn't change at the bottom.
Right.
It's only at the top that it kind of grows into one. It tries to grow into one. So I use scissors to kind of separate them, to make sure that they're still like
Or what will
separated up
happen?
here. Otherwise, it will just grow into one big dread.
And start pulling your head back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it's
Did you
kind of you see.
I'm sure
this-
your mama did.
Yeah.
They couldn't have ever believed you were going to do this.
No, they did not.
And neither
expect
could
it.
you.
No,
just
it's-
became attached to it. Well, you
just
play with
became
it at
like
home
a-
or something? What do you do with these things? You get the names. And
Yeah.
How many do you have? How many do you have total?
So I had a friend count it for me.
Okay, right. I'm sure you did.
Yeah, and she said I
That-
have 18.
18 of them.
Big ones up here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think at some point before I had 44, but that was a long time ago because you have them.
They start
Like
to
get-
separate.
Yeah. So back then I had several, and then they started to grow together because I didn't cut them. I didn't separate them back then, and then they kept getting thicker and thicker.
They
So now
start
they're-
twined together.
Yeah.
So you ever think there's going to be a day when it's going to come off?
Maybe, but
you
not
don't
yet.
know.
Not yet.
Not yet. Have you ever thought about when you cut it, donating it and stuff? Because can't you do that?
Yeah, you can donate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess they would just make it so that people could attach the dreads onto their hair. That's
yeah.
what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how many years growth?
It's 21 years now. Yeah.
21 years.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
past the teenager. It's 20
Jeez.
years.
So you have a lot of memories in that hair.
Oh yeah. It's like rings on a tree, basically.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Mm.
So when you meet Rastas, what do you guys do? You ever get together with Rastas and talk? Have you ever met somebody Rasta who has the same dreadlocks?
I met people with the same kind of dreadlocks,
Right.
but I haven't gone together and talked about.
And talked, yeah.
Yeah.
Talked
Yeah.
about hair and nothing.
No.
Because I've met a couple, but they're musicians.
Mm.
I met a couple of guys that have it, and they're musicians, and they usually wear these knit caps over it
Yeah.
and put it. You ever do that?
Sometimes I do
Okay.
because it's kind of long. It goes
Mhm.
below my waist. So, so sometimes when I sit down,
Yeah.
it pulls my
pull
hair.
your back,
and-
yeah.
yeah. And sometimes when I do workouts or anything like that,
Mhm.
they're kind of in the way.
Right.
Yeah. And
So you have to
sleeping.
wear something right when you're
Yeah.
sleeping. When you're
Is
sleeping,
it-
sometimes you wake up and you.
Yeah.
It's around your neck.
Yeah. What is that? But it's kind of convenient when I don't have a pillow.
Okay.
I can
Oh,
just
really?
roll up my hair
And just
then
do it.
sleep on my
Oh,
head.
that's nice.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Especially when I go out camping, it's very
Okay.
convenient.
Yeah. So when your dad says, "Dad, you go okay? Cool, because I'm cool."
Yeah. Yeah.
What's this? Is he? Oh, he. Has he been thought? He hasn't been able to come back for 2 years now.
For 2 years, no.
And I think they have a new regulation now that if you do come here, you have to be in quarantine. They take you away for 3 days and put you somewhere.
Yeah, at least 3. From Sweden now, it's 6 days. They put
take you and you have no windows. They tell me. I mean, they close the windows.
They close the windows. You're not allowed to open the windows.
For 6 days in Sweden?
Days. For 6 days, if you come from Sweden to Japan. So in Japan, you have to be in a hotel.
6 days if you come from Sweden?
Yes. It's because of the new variant that came out, that they increased the length you have to stay in a hotel. Yeah.
I know from California it's 3 days.
Oh, okay.
If you come there, it's 3 days, but they take you where they want to take you. And God forbid somebody on your plane had COVID.
Oh.
You know, because they test everyone. Then I wonder how long they keep you.
Yes.
They're really making it hard for people to travel.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because you spend more of your time in quarantine than you will doing what you need to do, unless you can work from your room. But still, what's the point?
It is.
If you have to stay in a hotel room, you do your job and you could have stayed home and been free.
Yeah.
So, what do you have to share with us at the end? Anything you'd like to leave us with?
I would like to leave everyone with that Japan is a wonderful place to be in. I think the culture itself, it's nothing like other parts of the world, especially compared to, for example, Sweden, where I grew up, and I have a long story. Is that in Japan it's a lot about like the service-mindedness in Japan is such a wonderful thing to experience, and even though that it sometimes is not the same as like what I'm used to in Sweden, I think it really gives you a very nice way of understanding the Japanese culture. Yeah, and I think I fit in very well here. So I think last time we talked, I'm more of a listener, and here in Japan, listening is kind of revered, I think, and I would say that if you are a person like me, then Japan would be a wonderful place for you. Yeah.
What if you're a talker?
Yeah.
Like me.
Like you. I think
that Japan too. No, it's good for talkers too. It's good for talkers too. Because the Japanese like to listen.
Yes.
And because so many Japanese people really listen, they really love having someone who doesn't mind you just listening.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's a good place for both of us.
I think so.
It is.
It's a good place. Do you ever see yourself leaving Japan, or do you think
not in the close years? I think I will stay here for quite a long time. Yeah.
It's hard to leave.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Your total time here now is how long?
It's been more than 12 years.
More than 12 years.
Yeah, more than 12 years.
Oh, you're getting up there.
Yeah, it is. I think when you get to around 10 years, it becomes a different place to be, Japan. Because because you have the people who come here for a couple of years and they leave. But the ones that stay longer, the group of people gets smaller and smaller. And then you realize, like, this is the place where I actually want to stay for a long part of my life. Yeah. And it opens up new doors as well.
It does.
You meet new people.
It does.
Yes, it is very nice.
Yeah. But anyway, I want to thank you so much, David.
Thank you, Lance.
It's a pleasure. I
Real
enjoyed
pleasure.
this. It's really, really good. We're going to have lunch after this, too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I get to talk. And
I listen. Thank you for listening to me.
For sure. I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And never forget, it's all unknown. Continue to reach for the stars, and you're too blessed to be stressed.